vision.
And now, we move on to the greatest theme park resort in Orlando, because Disney is technically in Lake Buena Vista, the one and only Universal Orlando Resort. Now, unlike every other Florida park, I have been to both the California and Florida Universals before I lived here. And since I was a teenager the first time I visited both, I don't really have an unfair nostalgic bias in one direction or the other. So I'll start things off by saying there are a few things to compare and contrast between the coasts, but by and large, Universal Orlando is the far superior theme park resort. But that's not to belittle Universal Hollywood, which still has a decent park and is the far superior movie buff attraction. Universal Hollywood is one of the most historically significant movie studios in the world, and while the theme park geek in me can't get enough Universal Orlando, the film geek in me feels like I'm stepping on hollowed ground every time I enter the gates of Universal Hollywood. But you can hear more about that in Spazmaster's excellent retrospective. Just like Disney, Universal followed up their California tourist destination with a Floridian sequel. But this resort is more like the Disneyland resort than Walt Disney World, in the sense that there used to be one park, then they opened a second that had adventure in the name, and built a parking garage and you can walk everywhere. Otherwise, it has more in common with Disney's Hollywood Studios, mainly because Disney stole all of their ideas while Universal Orlando was still in development. Not so many that the parks are identical, but they do both replicate a few of the same Hollywood landmarks. But then Universal's always been playing catch up with Disney parks. They've never really had stronger kid magnet properties than the Mouse and the Princesses. Sure, they've licensed some stuff that kids still like, but a lot of those were non-exclusive licenses. Even in this county. Even Universal's own properties make fun of the park attraction's lack of relevance.
I rode the backdraft ride at Universal Studios like 74 times.
Sean, you can't base a whole theory on a movie.
There's a movie?
Of course, one time they tried to make a relevant attraction, they poured money into a Waterworld show, so yeah. They built some things that still latch onto the zeitgeist, particularly a certain Wizarding World, but even if more people are talking about that, Magic Kingdom was still getting higher attendance. But really, Disney's no better at predicting what property's going to be relevant enough to carry an attraction. They're just better at keeping their old properties relevant. Magic Kingdom recently had their largest expansion in history, and it was mostly dedicated to a couple of movies that were already 2 decades old. They just knew to make sure kids would still be watching these movies. Has Universal even tried keeping Woody Woodpecker relevant? Universal's other shortcoming is that it's not really a very cohesive brand the way Disney is. Everyone has certain associations when they hear the Disney name, but Universal's brand basically amounts to movies, am I right? Now, like Universal Hollywood, Universal Orlando has actual studio facilities with actual productions, to a point. Yeah, not quite the prestige of their Hollywood studio. Oh, they tried. A lot of the park's design was built to potentially double as a working backlot. They really put in the effort to make an unparalleled East Coast studio. Of course, it didn't take them long to realize that only a total idiot would try to use Central Florida as a filming location. Yeah, let's go inside. Next time, we'll start things off with Production Central.
It's a great big universe and we're all really puny. We're just tiny little specks about the size of Mickey Rooney. It's big and black and inky and we are small and dinky. It's a big universe and we're not